Welcome and thank you for joining us for this special edition of the Crexi Podcast, an insider's look at all things commercial real estate. I'm your host, Yannis Papadakis, and this is ReConversations, delivering next-level insights and expertise live from the NNN Pro booth at ICSC's ReCon 2023. Today's show is powered by the NNN Pro Group, the nation's market leader in net leased investment, retail transactions, as well as advisory services. And today we're thrilled to be sitting with Peter Mavoides, President and CEO of Central Properties. A little bit about our guest. Mr. Mavoides has been President and Chief Executive Officer since 2018, and he held similar positions at Central Properties Realty Trust, LLC, which became the operating partnership through the formation transactions since March 2016. Previously, Pete was President and Chief Operating Officer of Spirit Realty Capital, SRC, from 2011 until 2015. While at Spirit, he was instrumental in transforming the company from a private enterprise with approximately $3.2 billion of total assets and 37 employees at the time of initial public offering in September of 2012 to a public company with approximately $8 billion in total assets and over 70 employees at the time of his departure in February of 2015. Prior to joining Spirit Realty Capital, Pete was the president and CEO of Sovereign Investment Company, a private equity firm that focused on investment opportunities relating to long-term single-tenant leaseback opportunities. Welcome to the podcast, Pete.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
So before we kind of get into things, I'd just love to hear a little bit about where you're from and how you got into commercial real estate.
Sure. So born and raised in New York, Long Island, and started in commercial real estate when I graduated business school in 1998 at the University of Michigan. Was working as an investment banker, structuring net lease transactions, working for corporate clients.
And when you got started, did you have some specific mentors that kind of helped guide your path or help kind of lay down, where you thought you would go in your career?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of ambled along my career and invariably had a couple guys that were pretty instrumental. I worked at East Hill Realty for a while under the Roy March, the CEO over there, who was a great mentor. And I also, when I got on the investing side, I began investing capital for George Marcus, founder of Marcus and Millichap, a nice Greek guy. And he taught me an immense amount. And so, a lot about investing and running companies and leadership and running a business. And so, I was fortunate.
Lovely man and exceptional philanthropist, too. He sends a lot of Greek kids to Greece every year in the Greek community. Familiar, I'm a former Marcus agent myself.
Okay.
And now, were there some lessons that you learned early on that became invaluable going forward?
Yeah, I mean, you learn lessons every day, you just constantly developing those calluses and learning those lessons. Hard to point to one lesson. It's I think more than anything, it's just be a good person.
What about mistakes? Any favorite mistakes or moments that course corrected you onto your current path or, at the time you didn't recognize as opportunities?
Yeah, I mean, I made a lot of mistakes. Investing with George, we invested nearly $1 billion and not all of it went well. And underwriting credits, underwriting tenants and underwriting assets, you learn what works and what doesn't work and bring that forward and made me the investor that I am today.
What are some of the biggest trends you're seeing in the commercial real estate, specifically retail sector right now?
The capital markets are challenged. The debt capital is scarce, and when it's available, it's priced pretty wide, and it's really dislocated, and it's really creating a lot of challenges for the transaction market. And I think it's going to take a while to work through and really get back to a more normalized place. And certainly looking back, 2-3 years ago, it wasn't normal. It was, overheated and it's cooled off a little too much. And so the capital markets need it needs some time to settle out.
Do you think we're still heading towards equilibrium? We haven't quite found the balance yet?
I do, and it's people are still scared. People, I often say it's hard to price assets if you can't price capital. And, with the yield curve inverted and, the 2-year really, at higher rates than 10-year just doesn't make sense. And so I think, a normalization of the yield curve, whether it settles out at 3, 4, 5, who knows? But I think, getting the right relationship on the yield curve is going to be important to get the markets functioning normal.
Interest rates is on everybody's lips during this show. Something I wanted to touch on is technology. Is there efficiencies that you're seeing with technology and with data being more accessible than ever before? And as well as AI, is that something that, that you're leveraging? You see that as a benefit? Is it a boogeyman? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, listen, technology is a great tool to collect and data, but ultimately, you got to analyze data, and technology, it's not really analyzing data for you or looking at the data through an informed lens, which, as investors, that's what we have to do. So it's a tool, and we use it and we leverage it where we can, but ultimately we're, making decisions based upon the data that it provides us. In terms of AI, I have done a lot of it. I know my team's using it and finding ways to, become more efficient in our business. And, we'll see where it goes.
Well, thank you so much for cutting time out of what must be an extremely busy schedule for you here at the show and sharing your insight and expertise with us. And thanks to everyone who tuned in to today's ReConversations, powered by NNN Pro Group. A special shout out to our friends at the NNN Pro Group for hosting us at their booth at ICSC. As mentioned earlier, NNN Pro Group is the market-leading net lease investment sales and advisory team in the country. To learn more, you can visit their website at nnnpro.com. And if you enjoyed this episode, visit go.crexi.com/podcast to get the next episode sent directly to your inbox. Or you can subscribe on your favorite podcast app and check out videos on our YouTube channel as well. Thank you, and look forward to tuning in next time.